It's time for IP in the news before we get to our distinguished guests tonight. And so what are we talking about?
Well, this reminded me of something that happened to us.
Yes.
So it's a trademark confusion case.
Oh, we're frequently confused, but please proceed.
Well, we went to Sedona, Arizona, and when we booked the place, we thought we were booking Adobe Village Inn and Suites in the middle of Sedona. But there's another Adobe Village that's outside of Sedona that was totally self-serve, no restaurants, no people there to help you, no concierge, nothing. You were totally on your own. They left the key on the counter and that you never saw anybody.
It was a nice place and we had a good time, but it's not what we were expecting.
Not what we thought we were getting.
Right.
So in this case, there's another possibility of name confusion. So do you want to explain what happened?
I'll do my best. This is all about curry pizza. And quite honestly, I've never had curry pizza. So I can't really say whether it tastes good or not, but it sounds kind of interesting. And of course, pizza is our favorite subject, but there's a trademark dispute between the Curry Pizza House and the Curry Pizza Company. So Curry Pizza House was there first and they had a successful restaurant. And so somebody who shall remain nameless decided that they would approach the CEO and ask the CEO for, well, how did you make a successful pizza restaurant and what's on your menu? And it turns out that this person then went back and started their own pizza restaurant called the Curry Pizza Company, as opposed to the original Curry Pizza House, right?
Which honestly, I had never heard of curry pizza before I saw this online.
I know.
It was really distinctive, right?
I've had Thai pizza, like with peanut sauce on it. That was pretty good. And I know
had a lot of fish pizza on the West Coast. Shrimp pizza.
Fish pizza?
Oh God, it's the best. Yeah.
That just sounds, I mean, fish is fine, but I can't imagine. What kind of fish did they put on it?
Well, shrimp mostly.
Well, that's not fish. That's
seafood.
Shrimp.
Okay.
Oh, that's seafood pizza.
But no, you could get other fish on your pizza.
So anyway, this name thief stole the idea for the restaurant. They stole their menus. And of course, now they're in litigation about it. But it just goes to show you have to be careful. You have to protect your brand. It's a good thing that the original owner had trademark protection now because they have something to fight with.
Well, the other thing is, like, what if Curry Pizza Company doesn't taste as good as Curry Pizza House? You go and you think you're getting the stuff that's really good. Like your next door neighbor said, go to Curry Pizza. You go to the wrong Curry Pizza and you're like, what were they talking about? This is terrible.
Exactly.
Not that I don't know if it's terrible or good. I'm not judging.
It's also the key on the counter of the hotel rather than the concierge service that you were expecting.
Right. Exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So the other point is, so were we going to talk about our Aruban vacation?
We're going to talk about our Aruban vacation. So the most memorable part of it.
So, if you're a regular listener, you know that you can trademark smells, right? So when we were in Aruba, we went to the donkey sanctuary and we went there in an open air Jeep, right? And the tour guide, who's a pretty bright fellow, parked us very close to the donkeys and said, does anybody want to get out and take a picture? And everybody just kind of sat there in the Jeep waiting for this part of the tour.
Because you can imagine a bunch of donkeys in an enclosure, like 80 to 90 degree weather. And it wasn't as windy there as it normally is everywhere else on the island. And you're just kind of like sitting in this donkey poop smell.
Yeah. And that's like a smell that nobody should trademark, right? I think that even if you could get one, you wouldn't want it anywhere.
So maybe to clear out some spaces, military trying to get people to leave or something.
Right.
You didn't bottle it to bring it home?
I said to the guy, if I give you $5 for the donkeys, can we go?
Yeah, and he took it, made the donation. We were out of there in a minute. So I think that was his plan all the time. Yeah. Anyway, now it's time for Richard's Roundtable, and I'd like each of you to take the opportunity to comment on what we just talked about. Anything from shrimp pizza to trademark issues to just donkey smells. Yeah, so
to Aruba, whatever.
So, Shauna, the tax goddess, please enlighten us with some tax wisdom. No, just enlighten us with your thoughts about this whole
tax wisdom
situation.
Comes later. Yeah.
it all comes together, all the good bits. Well, I mean, one of the fantastic things, and I've got stories just like everybody else does, right? Tax Goddess, we actually own the trademark in the entire US for Tax Goddess. We have had hundreds of people on Facebook, on websites, on whatever, documentation, literature, use that name. And
Really?
unfortunately, really, hundreds. We actually have templated letters that we send out to people. I mean, it happens at least once a week because it is
Wow.
just such a good name. I mean,
Well,
Tax
it's
Goddess.
great that you got there first. That's amazing. And you must give good tax advice. Otherwise, people wouldn't want to copy you, right?
Well, and that's part of the deal. You know, we're in the top 1% in the country for what we do. So yeah, Tax Goddess it's a good name. It's a good brand and we do a good job, but you're exactly right. People steal that name all the time. Now, often, I'll be very honest with you, often it's some single person. You know, our firm is 70 people. We're big from that standpoint, right? Often it's a single person, they're in their home and they go, oh yeah, I've got this great idea. You know, they came up with the idea. They didn't look, they didn't research, they didn't see if anybody else had this name. They just started calling themselves the Tax Goddess. So in 99% of cases, they back off instantly. Here's a letter from the attorney. Here's our trademark. They back off. This is not a problem. We've only ever had one case where somebody tried to say, we got there first. Thank goodness. We have our trademark and our paperwork and all the details. And no, you didn't, honey. Right. And so stop using the name. But yeah, we've actually had cases, unfortunately, somebody using another company where you're talking about the pizza's not any good. Somebody using another company. I got terrible service from Tax Goddess. They're posting that to our Yelp or our Google. Guess what? That's not us. We don't even have you as a client in our record names. So sorry, please remove this. But it can actually cause some damage because if you look at, for example, Yelp's policies, a review is a review is a review, whether it's actually your company or not your company, it can actually cause damage. And so it becomes a fight with Google or with Yelp, even though it had nothing to do with you. And you can prove it has nothing to do with you. It can cause some serious damage.
Yeah, I agree. It is really important. Valeria, what are your thoughts?
So even though we're going to talk later about consciousness and abundance, I have a lot of years in business. I come from a corporate career. I'm from Argentina. I came here 20 years ago for my MBA at Dartmouth, and I've been in corporate. So in corporate, we were extremely careful because I was in innovation, mostly for consumer goods, to trademark. You know, IP protection was a big thing that corporations did. And we were extremely careful to pick names that, you know, were unique and make sure we protected them. However, I have to say, 5 years ago, I pivoted my career to help incubators and entrepreneurs. And I've been working with roughly, I would say, 500 entrepreneurs closely in the last 5 years, mostly from Latino communities and communities of color. And I have to say, these small businesses do not invest the time and the money to protect their name. In my own experience, I find that there is not the awareness of the importance of doing this. I have seen people copying names from each other. I have seen that it damages your brand. But yes, there is this lack of awareness. And sometimes they are hesitant to invest, right? To invest time and money in protecting their names. So I'm very happy we're having this conversation on this platform because this really helps to bring this information to the community. I recently launched my book, Uncolonized Latinas. So that name is already taken. I just want to say that the name is Uncolonized Latinas is already taken. There's a copyright. So, you know, the importance, particularly for small business, is about reaching out to experts and protecting their ideas, protecting their names.
I mean, we couldn't agree with you more, of course, but it is important. I mean, trademark really shouldn't cost much more than $2,500, which is, to a startup can be a lot of money. But before you invest, you know, thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars in your branding and your materials, it makes sense to check and make, you know, just to make sure that somebody else isn't already using it. Because otherwise you run into problems. You know, people who are there first will start a fight. So, John,
we have dealt. We've been in business a little more than 5 years, and from early on, we dealt with some name confusion, some of which was purposeful. Shauna, we can relate to what you heard. Somebody, the worst example was somebody who copied our website, literally copied the website, and our mission is spreading happiness. They changed the word happiness. Otherwise, the text was the same.
Wow.
Blows my
And
mind.
they backed down quickly, but we've had other things that are not necessarily, our understanding that you could trademark. So among other things, my partner here, he's an entrepreneur, an athlete, a public speaker, but you also have Down syndrome, right? So we created a Down syndrome awareness sock, and we had gone to see if somebody else had one. Nobody else made one. That's been one of our best-selling socks. Now, lots of people make Down syndrome themed socks. They're not violating a copyright or a trademark in doing that. But one difference is they don't have John, and they don't have the commitment we do of, John's on the board of the National Down Syndrome Society, and our socks raise money for the National Down Syndrome Society, so they don't have that. But we've had, the crazy sock term actually was trademarked by somebody else back in the 90s. They don't seem to protect it. We're always John's Crazy Socks. One of our suppliers, who's also a competitor because they sell directly to consumers, has changed their website to crazysocks.com. So our lawyers are looking about having a conversation with them.
Wow.
Well, that's excellent. You don't know that you need lawyers till you need lawyers, right?
Right. Until you find out about these
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
So I guess the IP takeaway message today is, make sure you do a trademark search before you get started and pick a name that you can trademark. Right.
Right.
So,
well, look at the Cleveland Indians who wanted to change their name and found out they changed it to the name of a roller derby team that still controlled the name, the Guardians. So
that's
we're
great.
in trouble.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with more Passage to Profit right after this.